And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today we're talking about if the Washington Commanders are going to make some more moves before the NFL season starts. And so before we jump into it, I first want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, just like Jaden Daniels is going to be hitting Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel for lots of touchdowns this upcoming season. And so in exchange for hitting that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Washington Commanders. And so make sure you hit that subscribe, you hit that like button, and you join the Washington Commanders Insider family as we talk nothing but Washington Commanders football daily. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into the content for today. And so we're talking about if the Washington Commanders are going to make some more moves. And so you can find this article on Rigo's Rag. It's under Washington Icon Hints and Adam Peters isn't done willing and dealing post-draft. And so within this article, there is a tweet from JP Finlay, who covers the Washington Commanders on NBC Sports and 106.7 The Fan. And he's talking to a Washington legend in Charles Mann. And I guess he's asked about just the Washington Commanders and maybe going out for an edge rusher here. And so this is what the tweet says. And so he says, Adam Peters is a very savvy, doesn't think it's over or don't think it's over just because somebody wasn't drafted. There will be veterans released. There could be trades. Peters isn't done, and don't overlook what's already in the building. And so shout out to Charles Mann, one of my favorite players with Washington. I do remember he was on the last Super Bowl team where they beat the Buffalo Bills. And I also remember getting sacks with him in Tecmo Super Bowl. So if you play the game, you know. But going back to it, I totally agree with everything that Charles Mann had to say. I think that the Washington Commanders are definitely a team that is not done. And I think that Adam Peters is going to do everything he can to make this football team the best that it possibly can be. And I mean, even if the Washington Commanders won the Super Bowl this last season, you can count on Adam Peters still picking up the phone, keeping the phone lines open to make the Washington Commanders even better. And so starting with one of the points that he talks about here, and that is just that the veterans that can be released. And so when thinking about that, I think about just what is going to happen at the end of preseason. I do feel like that there's going to be some salary cap casualties. And so you could get some veterans that are released there. And then, with that being said, like there's also going to be some situations maybe leading into preseason where you could see some veterans released. So I think the Washington Commanders are certainly going to be monitoring that situation along with everybody else in the National Football League. But definitely I could see the Washington Commanders swooping in there. And I think that it's more than just the edge rusher. I feel like that if there's a wide receiver that fits what the Washington Commanders want, they'll go out and get them. If it's a running back, I think that that's on the table. Offensive line, you name it. If it's something that Adam Peters feels like that it's going to improve this football team, I definitely think that he's going to go out and go get that player. And so I don't limit it just to just an edge rusher. And next, I think that he makes a great point, and I'm talking about Charles Mann with don't overlook what's already in the building. And so I love that point because we've been talking about the NFL draft. We've been talking about these mock drafts and talking about getting running backs and edge and corner and all this stuff like that. But the Washington Commanders did a lot of good stuff in the offseason. And in fact, like one of the things that we just really haven't talked too much about was Michael Gallup, right? Like Michael Gallup is a guy coming in. He's missed, some time. And if he's anything like he was with the Dallas Cowboys and he has any of that juice, that's certainly going to impact the Washington Commanders in the wide receiving room. Like that's certainly going to make them better. Then when you think about just the undrafted talent that the Washington Commanders have, like that could also be another steal that could open it up for the Washington Commanders at the wide receiver position. And we've talked about him several times in Ja'Cory Brooks. Like I think that this is an absolute steal. This is a player that he's going to get reps in the preseason. We know he's going to get on the field as a special teams player. So this is a player that could also immediately maybe impact the Washington Commanders. And then next, thinking about what we brought in with the draft class, like just what we got here from Virginia Tech, I think that this player is certainly going to be special for us, and that is Jalen Lane. Like, and so, yeah, he makes a great point with, yes, the Washington Commanders have a lot in the building that can certainly help them, and that's just on offense. Like, we haven't even talked about what the Washington Commanders have on defense. Like, I know that we talk a lot about Trey Amos and what he's going to do. And trust me, I think that he is going to be spectacular for the Washington Commanders. But we still have Jonathan Jones. Jonathan Jones is a two-time Super Bowl champion. And he comes up in run support. He will hit you, and he's also pretty sticky in coverage. And I think that he still has a lot left in the tank. Dedrick Weiss, that's another guy that has won a Super Bowl. I know he just had the 5 sacks, but if he needs to come in on a rotational basis, I think that he's certainly going to help the Washington Commanders. And so quietly, there's a lot in the building right now for the Washington Commanders that you have got to love. And so if Adam Peters didn't make another move for this team, I think that this team has enough to definitely push past where they were a season ago. That's just how I personally feel there, but we'll see what happens, once we get into OTAs, mini camp, training camp, and see what happens during the preseason. Obviously, it's a new season, so, there's a lot more on the line for the Washington Commanders because there's more tape on Jaden Daniels. More teams are going to be focused on them. They're going to be playing a tougher schedule. I get all that, but I just think the additions that Adam Peters has made for this football team has already placed them in position to be very successful. So I do like everything that Charles Mann had to say. I do think that the Washington Commanders certainly are going to be in the business to improve the football team, but don't sleep on the fact that in the building right now, this team is very, very good. And I think it's better than what it was last season. I think the run defense is better. And I think that we're going to find out, even without getting a prime time edge rusher, so to speak, either via draft or free agency, I think that the Washington Commanders still have plenty of juice on defense. And so we'll see what happens. You guys let me know in the comments here. Do you feel like Adam Peters is going to make some more moves before the Washington Commanders get into the season? Because look, if he doesn't, I still don't put it past Adam Peters making a move at the trade deadline. Remember, he went out and got Marshawn Lattimore last season at the trade deadline. So certainly he would definitely make a move there. And if the Washington Commanders are in position and they need to go get somebody, trust Adam Peters is going to do it. And so in Adam Peters, we trust it. So let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. Do you agree with the legend here, Charles Mann, that the Washington Commanders have a lot in this building and that Adam Peters is poised to make some more moves? Like I said, we got a lot with Dedrick Weiss. You got Ja'Cory Brooks, who just came on board. We just talked about Jones here at the cornerback position. I think he's going to be spectacular for us. Jonathan Jones, with that experience and everything else. And so let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments, man. And as we always say, look, go Commanders, and I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.